Talks with T and Shez.
Hello.
Hello guys, how you doing? It's a new day.
So welcome to Limitless Talks with
T and
Shez.
Yes, I'm ready, guys.
Another week, another day, another hour, another minute.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, but you know something, I give God thanks. God keeps us, He holds us, and He maintains a healthy mindset. So guys, we've been on this topic of mind, body and soul, and we're still kind of on there. But me and T were just discussing, we're having kind of like a chilled out session today.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a getting to know you, or getting to know me, or know thyself. So we've entitled it Let's Talk.
Let's talk. And let's go.
So T,
I'm excited actually. I'm actually excited because this means that you gotta answer some questions.
You haven't even told me what we're doing yet, T. You gone too far ahead. Let's tell them what we're doing.
Okay, I thought we was telling them what we're doing.
No, I haven't even said nothing yet. So basically, guys, have you ever been in a situation where you're talking to somebody, and when you're talking to them, you're asking a question, and it's like they have no response. It's like they have no opinions about anything, and then the conversation can kind of hit a wall. So you kind of say, "Oh, so what's your favorite color?"
Yeah. Or
I don't really look at colors.
Or what sort of job do you do? I just, and then you're thinking, what a block. Okay, and you're trying to get that conversation rolling, aren't you? You're really trying to get this conversation, because they may, you may have been in that environment where you're in a place and this says find somebody and just ask a couple of random questions, and so we've prepared for. In essence, you kind of, even though it's last minute, but you are kind of a little bit prepared because you've been asked to ask 3 questions or something like that, and then you're going to ask them, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like the dumbstruck, and
and you know what it is? I can understand, because not everybody, everyone has different types of communication styles. But in today's society, in fact, all throughout life, actually, communication is key. So being able to express ourselves is a good thing, and having the ability to be engaging. We need it in so many different areas of life. We need it on a social area. So guys, for those of you who have a partner or who are looking for a partner, a life partner in terms of a husband, for those of you who are looking for somebody, it's good to be able to have that openness to be able to want to answer questions. I find, and this is a theory, you might not be able to identify it, but to my understanding, when a person is not willing to engage or to open up about who they are, to ask questions, it tells me that they've got a defense up. They're quite closed, and it's really hard when you're a closed person for people to want to engage with you. Now, as Christians, one of our jobs is to engage, is to fellowship with each other. But if you're so closed, you want to make friends, you want to connect with others, but there's an area of you don't really want to let go of. You kind of you're a bit tensed up, and I'm going to use the term insecure because that's where it comes. That's
definitely. I totally agree.
But I believe, guys, that even in the Word of God, it tells us that we need to be free. It says, "Who the Son sets free is free indeed." Now, we're not telling you not to use wisdom and to, think about before you speak. But certain things like, what do you like to eat for breakfast? And it's like, why are you going to ask me about breakfast?
That was funny, isn't it?
Are you trying to imply that I don't eat? And some people are so defensive. Everything's an attack. What do you think, T?
I'll tell you something. What you're saying is so true. There are those individuals that you have that conversation with, or you have a little conversation. But I think one people that you mentioned something really key, that people have to think, if you're looking, say, for a spouse, you're looking for a future with somebody, communication is essential to moving forward in life. If you meet somebody and they might like you, and then you might wonder why is it that everybody just goes off me? It's probably because you haven't got a lot to say. It could be that, it could be something else, we just don't know. But all these things contribute. Openness is so important, especially if you're looking at a lifelong relationship with somebody, you know. So it's really important that you're able to speak and to turn around things, tell things, whatever, be expressive. I mean, I know I'm very expressive. I remember when I first met you, and we kind of clicked. It was at a conference, and I came over to you, and then you were saying, oh, I was looking at you too. We just literally started to talk so quickly with each other. But there are people that I may have met that I know I've gone over to them, and it's like, and for me, I'm telling you, I can talk, Shez, and you can you can talk too.
Do you know something?
You can't find anything else to say to that person.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes you can have those inhibitions, can't you? And I think sometimes it's because you might not feel like what you've got to say is important, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be that deep. We're talking about, guys, when we're talking about this now, this in terms of let's talk. It's about, we're trying to encourage openness. Yeah, we don't have to take everything and be so sensitive and be so guarded. Right. We find that it usually comes from a place of hurt. It doesn't have to. Sometimes it's our natural disposition as well. But we just want to encourage you, ladies, relax, open up, have some conversations, so we can actually develop some kind of nice conversations with other people. And you'd be surprised how it changes your day when you've had an encounter with somebody. You kind of feel like, oh, that was a nice conversation. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel it's good. And in the same way, when you have an encounter with God, you feel it, and you're like, oh, that wasn't something. Oh, that was, but really, you know,
sorry, Shez, I know I'm jumping.
No, I was finished. Go for it.
When you touch on the relationship with God, you know, a lot of people, when I'm ministering, they're like, I don't know how to pray, I don't know how to communicate with God fully. How do I have to pray? And I'm like, just express yourself. Saying that to some people is like, I don't know how to express myself. So guys, let me just explain something to you. Both in your godly relationship and all your relationships surrounding you, communication is essential. God came in the garden and communicated with Adam and Eve on a daily basis. Do you know what I mean? The Garden of Eden, they communed with each other. Jesus communed with the disciples. There's a lot of talking in being a child of God. There's a lot of expression. It's all about expressing ourselves. And so if you're out there and you might be struggling, do you know what I mean? Actually, all you need to do is probably say to God, you know, God, can you teach me how to not hide my emotions that deep, or show me the strategy that I need. And I just want to encourage you with that, because maybe even us having this conversation may make you feel a little bit insecure. I know if I was in that position, it would make me feel a little bit insecure, but I don't want you to feel insecure in this. What I want you to think about is, how can I change this? Because I am like that. Do you know what I mean? Because some of us talk too much as well. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I said. The Bible does talk about. The Bible does talk about talking too much. It really does. I also think in the context of what we're kind of saying here is about allowing yourself to open up so you can develop healthy relationships. And we don't want anyone to feel like they can't speak. It's just about kind of a nice way of just kind of saying, let's just practice these skills, these people skills, so that we can connect with others. And a way of actually getting better with our communication is just by talking. Start talking, start having conversations. So as T has already like kind of let the cat out the bag, we're going to do some random questions. I went onto the internet, guys. In fact, this is something I did even with me to my husband. And I've always encouraged other people to do it as well. When we first met up and we kind of went on dates, we asked ourselves questions. We asked each other questions, sorry. I've talked about the 101 questions to ask before you get engaged.
Yeah.
But, and it was fantastic, just being able to just ask each other questions. But guys, if you go on the internet and just type in random questions to ask a friend, you will get lots of different things come up. And that's what I did today. So I've done that this morning. And me and T, there's actually on this list, there's 25 questions. So we're going to ask each other 10 questions each. Yeah. So I'm going to ask T the first 10. And
I thought I was asking you the first 10.
Okay, then, so we'll do it that way. So T's going to ask me the first 10, and I'm just going to answer them. So it's going to be quick fire questions. Going to ask them, and I'm going to answer as I would answer in general. So I've purposely not looked at the questions. So it's going to come.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to take a little glance. A little glance.
But and then T's going to ask me the next set of questions.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you. I'm asking you first.
You can ask me the first 10 questions,
and then
I'm going to answer them, and then we'll talk about how this experience went and how we feel about it afterwards.
Okay.
Go for it, T. Go for it.
Right, okay. So, Cheryl, you only get 3 words to describe yourself. What are they?
It's okay. We do this all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
I would say fun, caring, quirky.
Okay. So next question is, would you rather have a home on the beach or in the mountains?
In the mountains, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Do I need to ask you why?
We'll be all day if we elaborate on them.
I know.
I'm going to ask why. The beach is dirty. It's just dirt. There's dust everywhere.
I know.
I'm just like, I can't be handling it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
On the mountains, I love walking. So me doing the mountain walks, I would love that.
Yeah.
And I can go down to the beach when I want to.
Okay. I want to ask you a double question on anything. What kind of things really make you laugh?
Really make me laugh. My children make me laugh. They're so funny. We have so much fun messing about.
Right, next one. Let's quickly. If you would jump into a pool full of something, what would it be?
Bubbles.
Oh wow, that's a good question. That's a good answer. Right, if you would be any fictional character, what would it be?
Fictional character. In my head, I had Superwoman in my head. I know we talked about that the other day. I was like, Superwoman.
Have you ever had a crush on an animated character?
I can't think of one now. I don't think I have now.
Yeah. Okay. What is the worst lie you've ever told your parent?
Oh my gosh, the worst lie I ever told my parents. I told my parents, actually, I told my mum I was going to go to work because my mum wouldn't let me go shopping with my friends. You know, when you're younger and you go to school, my mum was just like, I haven't given you no money. You're going to go on teeth. No, you're not going. Wasn't allowed to go shopping because they weren't giving me money to go shopping. And I really wanted to go shopping with my friends. And so I told my mum I was going to work experience because it was around work experience time. So I was 14. And I was saying, I'm going to Capital Curls because I ended up working there as a job for how many years in the hairdressers. I was like, I'm going to Capital Curls to sort out my work experience. And mum said, okay. Lo and behold, I wasn't quite, my mum spoke to, it was Audrey Roach at the time who owned the shop. And she also went to my church. So mum spoke to her and she was like, no, Cheryl wasn't with me. And it was like, I got found out.
That was definitely not clever though. Because your mum knows about church.
You know what it is? I would say it was the worst lie because I got caught. Because
the worst, of course it is.
I interpret it as being worse because I got caught. So if it was a good lie, I wouldn't have got caught. So yeah, sorry.
Okay, this is your last question. What habit are you most proudest of breaking?
Habit?
Yeah.
That I'm most proud of breaking.
What habit are you proudest of breaking?
I would say the habit of always doing something, like always keeping the house clean and stuff like that. I'm proud when I break it because it means I've taken time out for myself. So I feel that, so if I've had a day of relaxation of doing nothing, because I have a habit of literally being on top of things. As soon as something goes down, I want to clean it up or do it. So if I'm not doing that, it means that I'm actually proud because I've given myself a break.
Okay, good. Well, that's your last question, honey.
So okay, so I'm going to start with you. Your 10 questions. So I haven't looked, so let me just zoom this in because it's so tiny on my phone and it won't do a rotate.
Yeah,
I know you look at yours on the screen, don't you?
Huh? What?
You look at yours on the screen, so it's a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, I just literally bring it up on the screen because it's an easier life. I'm telling you, anything that.
Okay, then. Would you describe yourself as naughty or nice? And why?
And why? I would say I'm nice. I'm a bit of both, but I'll say nice. And why do I say that? Because I think I've got a nice character, a nice person. Yeah. I'm friendly. Yeah.
I agree. Okay.
Thank you.
What is your favorite joke?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. That one's a big one. What's my favorite joke? Well, I can't find one. There.
Okay, then. The next one. What's the weirdest nickname you've ever had?
I've ever had. Oh my gosh. Actually, it wasn't a nickname. There was somebody. I'll change it around quickly because there was somebody in a church that I was going to, and everybody was really trying to get to grips with my name. So obviously, my name's Hortensia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sister went up on the stage, and she was like, "I'm going to ask Sister Cynthia to come forward." So I was like, who's she talking about? Like, I knew it was me, but you know. And then somebody said, I said Hortensia, and she went, "Well, I've Sister or Cynthia to come forward."
And you were just like,
that was so funny. Oh my gosh, seriously. Yeah, that was it. Go on.
So yeah, Cynthia.
My eyes now.
Okay, so this next one. Yeah. What would be much better if you could just change the color of it? So what would be much better if you could just change the color of it?
So if I could change the color of something.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, you're giving me hard questions, girl.
You could have gone first.
I'm going to go last. I'm going to go first. What would I change the color of?
No, so what would be much better if you could change the color of it?
The wall in my living room.
Yeah.
The wall in my living room.
The wall in your living room. Okay. So, do you think double texting is a big deal?
What's double texting?
I have no idea. Guys, if you know what double texting is, please put a note in the description.
Anybody, let us know because we don't know what double texting is.
Oh, is it when you put like, you know, when someone says like do, like?
I don't know. What's the double texting?
Yeah, you know when they put two words together, like.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a big deal?
Nah, not a big deal. Nah. I don't know what it is.
Clearly not. We don't know what it is, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so if your life was a movie, what would it be called?
Hortensia the Fabulous.
Oh.
Or the Fabulous Hortensia.
Oh, the Fabulous Cynthia. Sorry. Okay. What's the last concert you went to?
The last concert we went to was William McDowell.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous.
So what do you wish you were really good at?
I think I wish that I was really, really good at social media at this present time in my life. Yeah.
If you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be?
I would be a collie cross. Yeah, I had a
I'm
dog.
quite impressed. You know dogs' names.
It's the only dog I've had. I know there's chihuahuas and there's other things. Yeah, but my dog, he was a collie cross, and he was so pretty.
Oh, a collie and
and I think it was a collie and a Alsatian mixed together.
Oh.
And honestly, he was so pretty, to be fair. So yeah, that's the only dog I would be like. Yeah, because that's the only pretty dog I like. Yeah, that's it. End of that one.
So that says you see yourself as pretty.
Yeah.
What is the most spontaneous thing you have ever done?
Oh dear. I don't know, let me think. I do a lot of things spontaneous anyway. Possibly somebody asking me to preach like probably 10 minutes before, and I've just gone up and had a sermon. I haven't even got any notes. I've just got it in my head. Yeah, probably.
Yes, this is your last one. If you had a time machine, would you go? Oh, sorry, I've lost this thing. Would you go back in time, or would you visit the future?
If I had a time machine, I would probably go back in time and change some of the decisions I made.
Would you?
Yeah.
Really? But you'd mess with
so that my future would be
and
a
then
bit
the future would change. It would be distorted when you come back. Sorry, I guys, you can see I like Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you've changed the time.
I would go back and change the time. I would change it. I'd do something different. Yeah.
So guys, so that was us asking and answering just random questions. So T, how did that experience feel for you?
I think I'm a talker, so normally for me it's fine. But the other side of that is that it was a little bit nerve-wracking, to be fair, because I didn't know what complete questions were coming. Even though I didn't browse good enough because I ain't got time to read all them little words. So there was a lot of words on the page. But yeah, I would say it was it can be it was a little bit oh my gosh, what's next? And then when you asked me a question, I was like, oh, I need to get an answer. And I thought, well, I don't know an answer, so here we go. So what about you?
I love those kind of things.
Yeah,
I love it. So for me, it's just like, okay, what's that? And because you're kind of wanting to answer quickly, I think sometimes when you overthink something, when you're trying to formulate it, it doesn't come across as authentic.
Yeah.
So I find that when you kind of ask in the moment, or when I'm asked something in the moment, you're kind of getting a true answer. And so, and I think what I identify with very well is people who also are kind of really open, but I can get that quick answer straight away.
Yeah.
What I struggle with, and it's something I do make peace with. Don't get me wrong, guys. I make peace with it, but I suppose in my friendship group. So when you're close to somebody, and let me home in a bit closer. If I'm asking my husband a question, and he's like, "Oh, let me get back to you," I do struggle with those kind of situations because my natural personality instinct is to have something to say, to be engaging, because that shows that you love them. It shows that you want to know who they are. And when somebody engages with me, I find that as a lovely way of, oh, this person wants to open up to me. This person wants to share themselves with me. So me coming and taking it to the other direction, me asking you a question, T, and you responding, even if you didn't have the answer, you still were warm and you communicated. The way you communicated was still jolly. It was still engaging.
Yeah.
So there was a few that, as much as you felt nervous, you didn't come across in that way when I asked you a question. You were just kind of like, oh, actually, oh, no, I don't know that answer. And I think that comes from the power of understanding that you don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah. And I think, go on. I think you touched on a subject there because there's sometimes within life, I think we feel that we need to have all the answers. And the reality is, but I've learned that as I've grown, that, actually, I don't actually have an answer for that. My husband would come up to me and say to me, T, what do you think about whatever. And I used to literally think I need to find an answer right now, like, you know. And then I just literally turn around to him and say, you know what, baby, I don't have an answer for that right now. So let's have I always go, baby, let's have a conversation later or something like that. In saying that, it doesn't always come up later unless he brings it back up, because recently menopause and things, you know, memory goes. But I think it's really important that we have to understand that no, you don't always have to have an answer. You can say I haven't, but the other side to that is that just literally balancing yourself to know who you are. Knowing who you are is really essential to being able to answer questions. You know, you probably go to an interview and you want the job, and they ask you the most awkward question ever. Do you answer it, or do you say, actually, I don't have an answer? Would the fear come in you? Because if I don't answer that question, will I get the job? Will I not get the job? There's all sorts of different reasons why we find situations difficult. But the reality is, the thing about it is your practice, what you practice beforehand.
Yeah.
What you practice in your family environment, what you practice with your friends. You know, if you're the quiet one that doesn't say anything at all, doesn't know how to have a conversation, but you're there, then you're going to find that it is going to affect you in different environments. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, if you're jovial and you have an answer, at times you don't have to, as we just said, you don't always have to have an answer.
No.
At times when it's necessary for you to have an answer and you can find one, that's I think that's also about information as well, you know, building your information. One of the things that being dyslexic, not necessarily the dyslexia, as we both know, we've got that phenomenal memories. Now, guys, I'm just dropping this in. When you're going through menopause and you're dyslexic, seriously, it's like your world is literally messed up totally, because you dwell on memories so much. And I think even when we were doing the shows and I'm going through the menopause, I'm like saying that, thank God for Cheryl, thank God for Cheryl. Because Cheryl was like me, you know, seriously, and she would literally, and I'm openly saying this because I think people need to understand that somebody like me, who is a public figure, right? I am a public figure online. I'm a public figure. You might sit down and think, oh, we haven't seen her for a while or anything. That's because I'm going through menopause, guys. I can't remember some of the things I wanted to say. However, it doesn't stop you from having an answer. And that's what you understand. It doesn't stop you from having an answer. You can just give a mild answer, whatever. And because of that, because I can talk, I can actually black some of it. Should I let them all the way in? Do
you know something? Talk it, because I think it's what it is. These are coping mechanisms. We all go through certain things in life which is going to unnerve us. So there's going to be times in life where we don't necessarily feel like talking, but it's necessary, because we don't necessarily want to create a barrier to offend somebody, because we have a responsibility. We sometimes talk about other people being offended. We've mentioned about not being easily offended, but we also, and we've mentioned very slightly as well about not being offensive. And it can be quite offensive if you're constantly speaking to somebody and they seem to have that barrier up and they don't want to engage through conversation. Then they may be justified in having that behavior, like T's just mentioned, going through the menopause. It might be just it does develop an insecurity in you, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to say something silly. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten what I'm going to say. Do I ask? Can they repeat the question again? Are they going to think this of me as a result? But it comes to the point where we kind of have to kind of say, you know something, guys, I got brain fog. Brain fog's just kicked in. Say that again for me. Okay, I can't think at the moment. My brain won't let me, but I will answer it, but I'll get back to you later. It's about the way we communicate that. How do we talk about it and create a positive moment, rather than making it feel like you've left feeling really like, oh my gosh, I should have answered that question, and then the other person's left feeling, oh, they're off with me. I wonder if I've said, or I've done something. Oh, wait a minute, or are they off with me because? And they start overthinking the situation unnecessarily. because I'm sure, T, you've been there, where we end up in a situation where offence has taken place, and it was it didn't need to happen. It didn't. It's because of poor communication in the moment, which can happen. But I loved it when you said that, and even with the way you answered the question, I think I answered a question as well like that, where I was like, I don't know that one. We both didn't know one answer, but we just laughed it off. It's like, it doesn't have to be an intense.
It's not that deep, guys.
No, you gotta, and this is where you end up being comfortable, even in those vulnerable moments or those vulnerabilities that we have. And once you embrace those vulnerabilities, it doesn't become an angst, for lack of it doesn't become an issue. It's just, it is what it is. But in order to understand those parts of you and make peace with those parts of you, it is coming down to even what we talked about, you know, if you in one of our sessions before, about loving yourself. Loving yourself and having that healthy self-worth in the moment.
But there's one thing, there's a key factor for me personally in my life, and I'm sure it's exactly the same for you, is my ability to trust God with what I'm going through, what's happening in my life. So even though I've struggled in certain areas, I might go in an interview, I might go somewhere and I may struggle with saying something, because it's not that we don't struggle with saying stuff. It's how we deal with it when we're supposedly struggling with something. And so for me, the ability to turn around and say, Lord, you know, I trust you. I believe you. I want you to be with me while I'm going through it. There's a scripture that says, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its root by the stream.
That's Psalms 1, isn't it? That's
a different version. Actually, I found it's Jeremiah 17, verse 7.
Oh, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, the stand with the...
There's another one,
It's slightly... But I was thinking about this being planted by the rivers of waters.
That is the same, but this one says, but blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. And so, you know, sometimes we believe our confidence have to be in ourselves, but if we actually, as children of God, turn around and say, you know what, Lord, I've got to trust you. I actually don't ever have an answer for anything, Lord. I go into an environment, I've lost my mouth, I don't know what to say, I'm shy, I don't feel confident enough to do it. But put your trust and your confidence in God, because he will give you the words that you need. Do you know what I mean? He will. You know, I think one of the questions that Cheryl asked was, have you ever been asked to talk about something on spec? You did say something like that, and I said 5 minutes or something. Probably been asked 5 minutes before my sermon to give a word, something like that.
You got to know it was something that you've had to do spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous.
And you mentioned about having to speak.
Having to speak. And so, you know, guys, there's always going to be a circumstance, but what I want you to understand is that we're not here to highlight these things in a negative forum. We're trying to highlight them so that you can probably look at yourself. You know, the Bible talks about us checking who we are, checking our inner man, making sure that we're in a right frame of mind and everything. And this show in particular is about growth. Right? Limitless. You are limitless. Whenever you decide that you're going to move forward in something, you can do it. And you can change your environment just in 1 second. You can decide that actually, as of today, I'm going to ask the Lord to guide me, to give me the right words in an environment where I wouldn't have wanted to speak, where I wouldn't have wanted to say something. Do you know what I mean? As we've covered quite a few areas, we say you don't have to say something. You just need to be honest and not fear that honesty. So with that in mind, Shez, have you got anything else to say?
I haven't. I think, but it is my phone literally on here. I don't know if you can hear it.
I can hear it now.
Hear it. Sorry, the phone's ringing. And it's WhatsApp. And because my phone's on Do Not Disturb, my computer then decided to ring.
I know. Do you remember? I think, those things happen, guys. But talking to Shez is about you being you. and limitless talks with T and Shez. Being limitless, being understanding you. You know, when you go into an environment or when you go on different things, you want to be something else sometimes, and you don't need to be. Be yourself. Love who you are. Love who God created you to be, and enjoy the journey of living in God and doing the things that God wants you to do. Be blessed. Have a great day.
Well, guys, just before okay, so I was frozen off and taken off course with the phone calls. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, just it's good to talk.
Yeah.
It really is. It's healthy. It's healthy to be able to express yourself. Many times we're going through things and we've got things going in our heads, and we've kind of created our own life monologue. But a lot of times, if we actually allowed ourselves to open up to somebody else and talk about those in-head monologues with somebody who we know we can trust, and someone who can empathize with us, if you can find that person, guys, talk to that person about what's going on in your headspace. So at least then, when you hear it out loud, it does help within the process of then bringing it back and homing it back in and be able to pull it where it needs to go to. And there are counselors out there. There are life coaches. One of them right here out there.
I can help you.
We are here, and we are here to kind of make sure that we signpost you, to make sure that if this is something you've listened to today and thought, actually, I do want to get better in terms of my verbal communication. We can talk about physical communication, our body language, and we'll do that in another session. But in terms of how we talk verbally, how we speak, and being open. If there's areas in life which you're thinking, I'm in this space and time at the moment where I'm struggling in this area, get help, because you might find that there's the root of the situation is something that you need healing in. And we recognize that that's what can also happen through Christ. God can help you through that process of healing as well, but he also can send the right people in your life to support you through that. So open up and accept that you need help, and then get the help and support you need. If you need to contact us, please do. You can DM us on any of our platforms. Information is at the bottom, because we're here. That's what we're here for. It is Limitless Talks, but we want to empower you and to encourage you. So keep on talking. Keep on talking.
And believing in yourself. Believe in yourself, guys. You can do it. But we will put in the link, the life coaching, the link that you can get in touch with me on. And you can get in touch with me if you need coaching. By all means. We've been doing this. How long have we been doing Talks with T? About 2 years.
Gosh,
about 2 years. And I've never really plugged my life coaching, but guys, I even if I say, well, the feedback that I get is good, shall I say?
It's fantastic. You get very good feedback because you are fantastic at what you do. So guys, get in contact with our lovely T, and you can do that even through the Limitless website. So if you go onto our Instagram page, you will see the links to the website. You can then book your session, so you can develop those life skills that will encourage a limitless life. But guys, this is a nice short one today. So we hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and be blessed. Bye for now.
Bye.
See ya.
See you later.
Talks with T and Shez.